something happened this past weekend that got me really excited. So excited that I decided to put a video together, a really quick video, to show you what I saw in a picture that was shared to me by my friend Steve from Agro and Evolution. And it was a picture posted on Instagram by Long Range Air Gunning. In the picture, you can see the RTI booth in Iowa 2022, and they are showing a new gun. So this is what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna break down this picture, and we will see just by the picture all the info that we can get out of this gun. All right, let's start. First of all, the post from Long Range Air Gunning. Big plenum, big bottle, and big moderator. When I was seeing the picture for the first time, there were a few things that really jump out of the picture. One of the things is what he calling a moderator. Let's take a look at that thing, because I've never seen a moderator like this. It looks like a shroud. It goes all the way back in, but he's calling this a big moderator. So what is this? It's a moderator that will be a screw in the barrel and will go all the way acting as a shroud. Very interesting. I never think anything like that. Also, question here is, can it be replaced? If it's a moderator, can it be swapped for a more conventional moderator? So all these are questions that I'm asking myself when I saw that picture. One concern that I have is if this moderator is acting as a shroud, if we are going to lose the sturdiness that we have in the existing gun in the way this shroud is being attached to the gun. Probably you already know the shroud in the RTI is a screw into the gun, and also is being secured with a couple of screws. So what does this mean is, in today's gun we don't have point of impact chief or anything like that. So my concern here is, like, are we gonna lose that? Is the barrel gonna be now weakened by this new design? So this is something that we need to look into, but definitely this new moderator gives the gun something unique appearance or something. It looks like a grenade launcher to me. But if this moderator is very efficient, this gun will be very appealing for bigger caliber, like 30 caliber. Would be really interesting to see. And also I'm curious to know what will happen with the 22 caliber. So that's it from the moderator. The other thing that was mentioned in the post is big bottle. Oh yeah, you can see that bottle. I think just by the picture, this is gonna be bigger than 1 liter for sure. Recently I bought the 0.7 liter carbon fiber bottle that everybody is using, and it gives a lot of shot. So I just can't imagine how big of a bottle this can be, and yeah, it looks huge. Now that we are talking about the bottle, one change that I see is on the regulator. So as you know, the existing guns have the regulator in line with the bottle that goes into the gun. Just by looking at this picture, I don't see the regulator there. Actually, I see the regulator in the back. If we look at the picture, we will see a gauge close by the filling port. That means that now we are not going to have the two gauges together like before in the other regulator. We are going to have one gauge by the bottle, because I can see it on the picture. If you see really close here, you will see there is a gauge showing on the left side of the gun, and the other gauge will be by the filling port. So I'm guessing the gauge by the filling port will be where the regulator is. So this means that we are moving away from the external adjustable regulator, and we are going to have an internal adjustable regulator here. In my previous video, we saw how to build a bipod extension. So this is something that I also see built in this gun. We don't have the Picatinny close to the trigger. I see an extension which I had a Picatinny at the very front. I'm very happy to see this, because particularly I use bipod all the time. After I did my video, someone pointed about having the Picatinny ray closer to the center of gravity of the gun helps when you are using a tripod, and I think that's a good observation. I don't use tripods so much, and I always wanted forward, but in this scenario I think it's forward and there won't be any option for those guys using tripod. Looking at this picture, we can also see that this gun is going to have a minimum 20 MOA rail. Wanted to point it out, like you guys can see like the inclination on the rail in the picture. Now this is where I get a little bit doubtful. So I see some holes by the trigger. There are some holes and I see some numbers. In the previous gun, on the same side, we have holes in the back, and these holes are there so you can adjust the trigger. I'm wondering, are these the same holes but are now closer to the trigger? If so, is this gun still a bullpup, I mean the trigger still have a rod, or now the trigger mechanism is forward? What are those holes there? I have no idea, but I don't see the holes in the back. Actually, in the back, what I see is kind of a screw. Why is that a screw right there? To me, that should be for adjusting the regulator. The regulator will be on that massive block that we have there with the plenum. And let's talk about that. I remember in the past, people always saying that this gun is copying another gun that is very similar, which sometimes is very hard to avoid given that they are tactical, like the weight. But I see the gun, at least in the back, and this profile reminds me a lot of the Day-State Delta Wolf. I think what is happening is in the back there will be the regulator, the plenum, and that's why this chunky place is there. So I don't see the adjustment on the trigger there. That's why I'm wondering if the trigger adjustment is in the front. But I do see like a big Allen wrench there, and I think that will be for the regulator. Right, the book pad looks like it is adjustable. So I see the guy has his hands on the book pad, but I don't know if you guys noticed there is like a gap that maybe it is something that you can adjust and put it down, but it looks like also it's a little small bolt pad, so I really don't know if it's adjustable, but that's what it looks by looking at the picture. I will really like a more ergonomic rest in the back. Also, even the old RTI has that chunky, flat, somehow uncomfortable to shoulder, but aftermarket people have been creating. So in that area, I would really like to see some improvement there, but I see it's like a tiny little piece that it looks like move up and down. Now coming up, the magazine insert looks huge. I think it's thicker, way thicker than the one that we have in today's gun, but just by looking at the picture I cannot really tell, but that is a huge opening right there. One thing that I'm really thinking, and I'm not sure, is what is in front of this magazine. It looks like a cheek razor because the holes look like this piece can be moved up, but if that is the case, it's gonna be that the magazine is behind your face. In my current configuration, I have the magazine in front of my face, so if we had a cheek raise right now, are we gonna have the cheek raise in a way that the magazine goes behind? If that is the case, that's good news, because I can design a huge magazine now that is not gonna interfere on your shooting position. But I always make myself careful when I'm designing a magazine for the RTI, that I keep the magazine relatively small, because in the current shooting position the magazine can be on your face depending on how far back you have your scope. But here I see something that it really looks like a cheek raise. I cannot tell 100%, but it looks like why this opening and why having those cut out right there. This is something everybody is being asking, especially in cold weather, because the gun in the back in the existing Prophet today is kind of metal all the way, and I can imagine how uncomfortable it would be to put your face in this freezing cold weapon. So having that is something good if it's really a check raise and your magazine goes in the back. That really got me excited right there. So there are a few things that we cannot see because they will be on the left side of the gun, but I guess the gun will still have the lever for cocking. That's amazing. I really like that. Also, one thing that I really like is having it on the left side. I'm right-handed, but once you get used to cock with your left without losing your aiming position, there is no coming back. It's like playing baseball for the first time. When you wear the glove on your left hand, you feel like it shouldn't be there, but think about it, it's there because you need to throw with your right hand. I'm just gonna say that. The other thing that looks evident is that this gun is gonna be heavy. This is gonna be a heavy gun. I would say just by the size of the bottle, the size of the back, it looks like it's gonna be heavy. But again, have no idea what would be the actual weight, but by the look of it, it's gonna be a big monster gun. There is one more thing going on in this picture that I don't know if you guys have noticed, but check the gun in the back. The gun in the back is actually a normal Prophet, but do you guys see a bipod extension there? So I'm just wondering if this is a add-on that RTI is going to start offering, or if there will be a new revision on that gun with the bipod extension that is showing up in the new gun, built in the gun. So that is something that I almost missed, but by looking at this picture very carefully, I can see a regular Prophet like the one that I have, but now with the built-in bipod extension like the one that is showing in the new gun. That is something that got me also really excited. This is something that I think the RTI guns really need. Well, I'm really excited about all these changes because, as you probably know, I'm a big fan of the brand, and so far in all the revisions that I've seen, Priest 1, Priest 2, Prophet, I haven't seen big changes in the way these guns are put together. They are pretty consistent. There are being a lot of improvements. When you look back into the Priest 1 onto the Prophet right now, some improvements are external, like now we don't have the pull for cocking. Most of these improvements have been internal, and this gun is bringing something that is, to me, is completely different gun. I heard somewhere that this is gonna be called the Prophet 2. I think that would be a mistake because this is not a Prophet. This is a grenade launcher. This is a completely new gun. I don't think this should be called the Prophet because it will send the wrong message. This is something that I haven't seen from RTI and got me really excited. I see a lot of potential here, like the gauges split. Now you can have option to put digital gauges, segment or something bigger. Before the gauges were too close. The new Moderator, like we know these guns were not coming with baffles, but I think this will be very quiet. I don't know, the autonomy of this gun, I think this will make a very nice 30 caliber gun with all of these things put together. That's just looking at the exterior, so we just can wonder what is gonna be improving the interior. Are we gonna have new barrel? Are we gonna have something else, some improvement done inside that will make this the perfect shooter? We just need to find out. So also, what would be the price? We just need to find out, wait, and time will tell. The one thing that I know for sure is I will have one here Sunday, so I will show you. So that's all that I have for today. Hopefully you enjoy breaking down this picture with me. Hopefully I can see you in the next video. Bye.